Saturday, February the 12th, Maronite Church celebrated the feast of the patron saint, Saint Maron. New kitchen and laundry facilities opened at Bethlehem Franciscan Boys' Home. A second-hand clothes shop in Jerusalem becomes an opportunity for dialogue and friendship between people of different faiths. The 44 schools of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem that welcome approximately 2,000 Christian and Muslim students throughout the Holy Land. The Bible Lands Museum in Jerusalem holds artifacts from ancient civilizations mentioned in the Bible. On February the 12th, the Maronite Patriarchal Council of Jerusalem celebrated the feast of Saint Maron. The Mass was presided over by Monsignor Musa al-Hajj, Bishop of the Maronite Catholic Archeparchy of Haifa and the Holy Land, and was attended by the Apostolic Delegate for Jerusalem and Palestine, His Excellency Monsignor Adolfo Tito Iana, the two Latin Patriarchal Vicars, His Excellency Monsignor Giacinto Bulos Marcuzzo, and His Excellency Monsignor William Shomali, as well as some priests. Also present were the Consul General of France, Mr. René Troca, religious women and men from various congregations, as well as a crowd of faithful. Saint Maron is like a star that revolves around Christ. The saints are like planets shining in the sky. They give their lives to people of goodwill who seek God. They thus discover how the saints and Saint Maron himself are light, a way that leads them to the Lord Jesus. The feast of Saint Maron among the Maronites of the Holy Land is a very important one. The Jerusalem parish is small, consisting of only 25 families. These have been attending this church for 25 years and have a special devotion to this saint. The Maronite Church is Oriental and grew up around the figure of the saint between the end of the 4th century and the beginning of the 5th. It is entirely in communion with Rome. The Maronite Church, from being a simple local church, has expanded throughout the world, also thanks to communion with the Holy See. The beauty of our church is that it is open and offers a vocation to all. In the homily, Bishop al-Hajj stressed that being a Maronite does not only mean belonging to the Maronite Church. The true Maronites are the children of Maron. They love each other and they love their Christian brothers. They open their hearts and their homes to everyone. At the end of the Mass, Monsignor Musa al-Hajj blessed those present with an icon of the patron saint. Happy Saint Maron's Day, and thank you all. In Bethlehem, where the Son of God became a child and where Herod persecuted the children, the Franciscans welcome and take care of the children. This was emphasized by the Custos of the Holy Land, Brother Francesco Patton, on occasion of the inauguration ceremony of the newly renovated kitchen and laundry of the Franciscan Boys' Home.
We are doing here in Bethlehem this through the boys' house. We are doing something for the children in Aleppo to help the children to overcome the trauma of the war, and so in many different parts. It is always important to protect children, to welcome children, and to help them to grow up in order to have, we can say, a normal future, a future of hope.
Present at the ceremony were the director and founder of the Franciscan Boys' Home, Brother Sandro Tomasevich, and Brother Marwan Dades. The director of the Holy Land Schools, Brother Ibrahim Faltas. the pastor of the Church of the Nativity, Brother Enrique Segovia, and the regional director of the Pontifical Mission in Jerusalem, Joseph Hasbun. The Pontifical Mission is very interested in the social services provided by the various institutions of civil society, and for this reason we wanted to support the service provided by the Custody of the Holy Land through the Franciscan Boys' Home in Bethlehem. The project was implemented with the joint support of the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land, FFHL, the Association Pro Terra Sancta, and the Pontifical Mission in Jerusalem.
At our office in Bethlehem, we receive families who need to share their problems and are ready to listen. We also visit their homes and see what they need. Some of the kids we've hosted here now work here as employees or have their own businesses. They've also been educated to form solid families and not repeat their parents' experience.
At the end of the opening ceremony, the birthday of one of the boys was celebrated in the new kitchen. We would like to thank all the donors, the Associazione Pro Terra Sancta and the Pontifical Mission, the Franciscan Foundation for the Holy Land and the Custody, who have helped us to realize these two projects. We are very happy with this opening and to be able to continue our journey together with God's blessing.
كلياتنا مع بركة رب نكمل المسيرة هاي من بعد.
A blue door. From here you enter a very special boutique housed in the dressing rooms of the auditorium of the YMCA in Jerusalem. The blue door.
People will donate clothing that they don't want anymore. We are very strict. We want clothes that are still clean, not in bad shape. We sell everything for 5 shekels, which is really like nothing. But we make quite a lot of money.
But the blue door is much more than just a point of sale of second-hand clothes. It is a door open to meeting and collaboration between people of different faiths and cultures. The project was born as part of the interreligious dialogue undertaken for years by the Hebrew-speaking Catholic community at the Zion Synagogue, with the involvement of the representatives of Islam.
We wanted to have a project that will really try to get all the 3 communities together, and we wanted to do something, good for people.
The Blue Door opens about once a week on different days depending on the needs of the YMCA. The money raised goes to fund projects and charities in 3 different communities.
For the Christians, we gave a nice envelope just before Christmas. We worked together with the Clarice sisters, and they have a lot of poor people that they take care of. For Pesach, so we will give the money we have to some Jewish organization, also for people in need, and for before Ramadan we give it to another association that is in the old city.
All the work is done by volunteers. Many of them belong to the Zion community, but there are also some Christians and a few Muslims, or people who simply became passionate about the project.
What I like the most is that a lot of people come, and with so many different backgrounds, then you have contact with them and you can talk to them, and I think it's meeting the people a bit and helping them out by collecting some clothes and maybe giving an advice what they should buy or not. And then you have a little chat. That's cool.
There is also room for some special extra initiative to help those in need. For example, the collection of heavy clothing and blankets for the homeless. And surprises are never lacking.
When people say, oh, but it's very cheap, and we always say, everything is for charity. So if you want to leave more, please. And sometimes they are. Before Rosh Hashanah, I think we had a woman who gave 1,000 shekels. So it's great. So we immediately, give it to those people in need.
A network of 44 schools throughout the Holy Land to meet the educational needs of about 2,000 students. These are the schools run by the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem through the parishes in which they are present and with the economic support of the Order of the Holy Sepulchre. The goal is to provide a high-level education in line with the teachings and values of the Gospel.
هذه المدارس هي مدارس كاثوليكية بمعنى أنها تحمل المبادئ
The Latin Patriarchate schools operate according to Catholic principles and values. Everyone in our schools has the right to be treated fairly and without discrimination, to live in a family atmosphere and to know the gospel values of respect for life, dignity and non-violence. These are important values that are taught in our schools, as well as fraternity and the relationship between Christians and Muslims, an attitude that begins with the children and reaches the parents.
تبدأ بين الطلاب وتمتد أيضاً للأهالي.
Supporting the education of new generations in the Holy Land has always been one of the main missions of the Knights and Dames of the Order of the Holy Sepulchre. They support the daily school activities, but also cover some of the expenses faced by families and the payment of a substantial portion of teachers' salaries.
Our mission as teachers at the Latin Patriarchate schools is to foster intellectual growth in our students by instilling in them a passion for learning and equipping them with the knowledge and skills to build a prosperous futures in their land. Our schools also offer students valuable opportunities through projects with the foreign schools, the extracurricular activities, and the students' exchange programs, which all contribute to students becoming independent, critical thinkers, and capable future community leaders.
Support from the Order of the Holy Sepulchre has been especially important over the past year and a half with the COVID-19 outbreak that led to school closures and distance learning.
التحديات من هذه التحديات هي التعليم عن بعد وتجهيز مدارسنا لكي تكون مستعدة للقيام بهذا.
In this last period, we have faced many challenges, including distance learning and the need to equip our schools for this requirement. Facing these challenges would not have been possible without the support of the Order. We were able to procure all the technological tools and train teachers for distance learning.
الذي تلقيناه من فرسان القبر المقدس حتى نستطيع أن نواجه هذه التحديات وأن ننجح.
In the Latin Patriarchate schools, where Christian and Muslim students learn side by side, fostering an environment conducive to interfaith dialogue is also an important element in the educational process.
البطريركية اللاتينية المسيحية وهي ما بتقتصر فقط بس على الطلاب المسيحيين.
Our school is one of the Latin Patriarchate schools, which welcome Christian and Muslim students equally. These schools organize what we call coexistence classes, where Christian and Muslim students come together to break the ice and get to know each other. This will help them cope better with difficulties and problems outside of school.
بين انه الطلاب وهذا بيساعد انه لما يطلعوا على العالم الخارجي ما يواجهوا اي صعوبة او اي مشاكل.
Education is the way forward to build peace in the Middle East. This is why the Order of the Holy Sepulchre is investing deeply in this field and will continue to do so. The history and culture of the various peoples mentioned in the Holy Scriptures are represented in many everyday objects, many of which have come down to us. The Bible Lands Museum in Jerusalem holds several of these artifacts. Walking through these rooms becomes a real excursion through the history of these civilizations.
The Bible Lands Museum was founded in May 1992, so we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. And actually it's an accomplishment of we can say, a dream. Most of the main exhibit that we have here is based on a private collection of the founder of the museum, the late Dr. Eli Borowski, who together with his wife Batya, who still actually manages the museum.
The exhibits tell us about the Egyptian, Greek and Phoenician civilizations, but also about the Canaanites, the Romans, the Babylonians and the life of the first Christians who belonged to this land.
The artifacts that we have here are actually antiquities. They're coming from really most of the cultures that we meet here in this area in a prehistory and history of something like almost 10,000 years. From really the Neolithic period, so it's like, I don't know, 8,000 years ago until the Byzantine period. We have here amazing pieces coming from Mesopotamia, from ancient Sumer, Akkad, from Egypt. I think it's one of the most impressive collections of artifacts from ancient Egypt.
Among the museum's exhibits, there is a carved sarcophagus in which biblical events are depicted.
Behind me is this amazing sarcophagus. A noble lady from Rome by the name of Julia Latronilla was buried here. Maybe her husband was supposed to be buried with her. And this art just behind me on this marble really demonstrates the combination between the classical art with the biblical heritage together with the appearance of Christianity in the region. So the scenes portray important stories that we find in the New Testament, for example, the triumphal entrance of Christ to Jerusalem, the miracles that he performed, for example, both in the Galilee, in the Sea of Galilee, but also in Jerusalem, healing the blind man in the Siloam pool, for example. But together with those scenes, the later scenes, we have also two scenes that are related to the Old Testament. One of them, right next to me here, is the bonding of Isaac.
In this other part of the exhibit, we can get an idea of what the city of Jerusalem was like in ancient times and what tools were used at the time. Here we also have depicted the city of Babylon. In the museum there are statuettes of people in prayer, kings or commoners begging for divine intervention, found in Iran, Syria and southern Mesopotamia. This was in use by Chaldean families. This is an Egyptian tomb. This and other exhibits give visitors an overview of the culture of these civilizations mentioned in the sacred text.
This museum is one of my favorite museums in Jerusalem. In my back you can see the map of Abraham Trail, where he walked, the areas that he walked through, and this is all the same places as today.
As Dr. Dorovsky, founder of the museum, said, "The future of humanity is rooted in the past, and only through understanding our history we can build a better future."